I was born March 19, 1905. I was born down the foot of Hamilton Avenue, DeGraw Street, Brooklyn. I got started weightlifting in 1950 at the age of 10. My father took me to Coney Island, and there was Travis doing his feats of strength. And my father told Travis, my father says he could lift your dumbbell, 250-pound dumbbell. So Travis turned around to my father, Bruno, and he says, cannot be, there's no kid in the world could lift that. So I bent down and I picked up the dumbbell 5 times, 5 repetitions. So he says, you know, he says, I want you to come after school and I want to teach you, you're going to be my protege. And I became his protege till 1939. And all the strongmen used to come. He said, how come a little kid like that lifts this kind of weight? Well, he says, I've been teaching him this stuff. As what else could he do? Oh, he says, he's 12 years old now, he can bend a 6-inch spike with his hands. Can't be. And the audience looked at me and I got it wrapped up in a handkerchief and I bent it. Then I started to learn how to bend 12-inch spikes with my teeth. He could lift for hours and hours, and nothing bothered him, annoyed him. He had concentrated, he learned everything when he was a young man. That's why I followed his lifestyle. Travis had a secret of lifting. That the man, at one time, he says, I'm going to try a record that nobody will ever beat. Even when I die, he says, I'm going to lift this 4,500 pounds, maybe about 100 or 200 reps in a row. And that's, a human being can't do that, but he did it. Then we had a 2,000-pound dumbbell, which he did 100 reps with it. And everybody in the audience, strongmen looking at it, there's a trick to it. How could it be a trick? He says, come up on the stage, he says. I'll give you the harness, the chain, and see if he's gonna lift it. They couldn't even budget. But at my time, 1934, I lifted that dumbbell 75 repetitions. I weighed 149.5 pounds. Nobody in the world ever did that at my body weight. And it's remained in York, Pennsylvania, and the museum is still there since Travis passed away in 41. We had a lot of fun though. I traveled with him a lot of different states, you know. We did a lot of shows. But Coney Island, the boardwalk was our real establishment, you know. Coney Island was nothing. It was more like a horse and carriage days. The rich people came from New York. They used to come to Ravenhall, Steeplechase, Joyce C. Tillio. Everything was horse and carriage days in those days, in the First World War. The rich people only came there. They had their own bungalows, everything. And Coney Island wasn't Coney Island like, you know, you had buildings. It was more like prairie land, you know, just the bathhouses. And the women used to dress with these long black bathing suits. It meant you had to wear a top. You were not allowed to beach till the late 30s to wear a top, or else you would be locked up by the policeman.
So you did weight training before you met Travis?
Oh yeah, I was a little kid. I was 5 years old, I started lifting dumbbells.
From who, your father?
My father. My father worked on the water from 1880 to 1925. My father could pick up olive barrels that weigh 1,600 pounds and head them right up with his hands. That's how strong my father was.
What other strongmen were in Coney Island at the time besides Travis?
Besides Travis, there was Charlie Fallon. He was the flamethrower. He used to put the flame in his mouth and blow it out. He was a great backlifter. He weighed 158 pounds. He died in 1955. Charlie Fallon was a very strong, but the only trouble with Charlie Fallon, that man used to smoke 5 packs of Camel cigarettes a day. And one time I told Charlie, why don't you cut out that smoking? In 1955, my poor friend Charlie Fallon died. He died of cancer in the lungs. Grimmick I met in 1928 in Point Amboy. As you know, I said, you got a remarkable physique. As you're 18 years old, I says, why don't you go into heavy bodybuilding, heavy lifting? He says, I'm going to take your advice. And we've been friends ever since. He became Olympic champion. He won Mr. America in 40, 41. He won Mr. USA in 47, Mr. Universe, Mr. World. He beat the best bodybuilders in the world out. He beat Steve Reeves out, Reg Parks, Clancy Ross. He beat them all. As a matter of fact, in that contest in Mr. Universe of 51 was your movie actor, John Coney. He placed about 18.
Bond. James Bond.
And he says to Grimmick, you're 40 years old and you're beating all these guys out. He says, I never saw a man with a body like yours. And I miss him because, to me, it was not only my idol like in lifting or bodybuilder, but it was a great friend of mine. In the middle is Jules Bacon, 1943, Mr. America. Steve Stanko, 1944, Mr. America. They're sitting on the dumbbell that belonged to Warren Lincoln Travis. It was shipped from Coney Island during the war to York, Pennsylvania, the museum. And that's where it's been ever since. Now I have another man for you. Tony Sansoni, the Crown Prince of Posing. Born the same year I was born. He died here at the age of 83. His height is 6'1", 190 pounds. He had the same measurement as neck, calf, and biceps. Now another thing I have to tell you. I seen Sandow in 1925 in the Brooklyn Academy. The man was remarkable. He weighed 182 pounds. He was 5'8½", blonde hair, curly blonde hair, blue eyes. He had a body that, I tell you, I never saw anything in my life. As a young man, never saw anything like that in my life. Steve, I met Steve when he won Mr. America. I took him to Coney Island, and all the girls on the beach says, I've never seen such a remarkable man with a physique like that. He was bronze, and all the girls used to flock around him. And Steve says to me, Joe, he says, take me away from here. He says, I said, what do you mean, Steve? He says, look, he says, it's not right. I'm Mr. America. It looks funny, you know? He made a lot of money from the Hercules movies. Then he made a picture with Prima Carnera. They became great friends. And everybody in Hollywood loved him. He was married to a duchess in Italy for 39 years, and she passed away of cancer. He put all his money out to try to save her. Stevie used to run horses. He raised them in Van Nuys, California. And that was his life. He was a great horse rider. He was a remarkable and a very clean living man. Steve and I corresponded together for years and years. He came at the dinners, the old-time dinners of the Strongman in the downtown Athletic Club. Every year he came to it. And when I got the news that he passed away 6 months ago, limb cancer, at the age of 74. And I'm not much of a crier of life, but I held it in my heart. And remarkable physique he had, remarkable. You never saw anything in your life like symmetry, symmetrical. I had to talk about that.
Now, you worked on the docks too. Tell me a little bit about that.
I worked on the waterfront. I worked on the hull of the ship. I worked on the deck for 45 years. I was a winchman. In all kinds of weather. You had to work, or else the next day you'd be out on your ear. Because in those days, you either work or take a walk. And I used to work 11 o'clock at night and all around the clock, sometimes for 2 or 3 days in a row, in all kinds of weather. I worked in a blizzard of 47. We had 26 inches of snow on deck of the ship. The cops had to come down to the pier and take us all off the ship. And the union didn't like the idea. I told one of the delegates, you know, we're human beings, I says. He says, I know what you mean, he says. But it's not me, he says. It's the head men. And I can't mention names because some of those people are still around.
You come from Greenpoint, go back to Greenpoint. You don't work here no more.
Tell me some of the people you worked with on the dock.
I worked with Jimmy Braddock, the heavyweight champion of the world before the war. Joe Walcott was a longshoreman. Jersey Joe Walcott. Real name was Arnold Cream. A great man, too. I think he could have been one of the best heavyweights of all times. He had boxing skills that were unbelievable. And, oh yeah, and then there was Steve Kiss Sullivan, the featherweight champion of the world in 1923 when he beat Johnny Dundee.
And you did tricks for them occasionally, right?
Oh yeah, I did everything. I used to bend iron bars on the waterfront. I used to bend spikes. People used to approach me, could you lift that, Joe? I said, well, I can't lift it today. I said, my fingers hurt. I said, it's cold weather. I said, I'll have to warm up my hands. So everybody used to make bets on the side. So I used to warm up my hands, and I used to throw tobacco juice on my hands and one more. And I go over there, and the first attempt I made, I couldn't lift it. 2 attempts, I couldn't lift it. They allow you 3 attempts. Then I used to bend down and just pick it up, go off the floor, right up to my hip. Then all the money used to come out of the checkers. Here this guy is 55 years old, he's 60 years old, he still can do these lifts. Well, I said, that's clean living. Then I did a back lift with 6 gasoline drums on a platform. It weighed 4,400 pounds. My best was only 3,800 pounds. But that day, as if God was talking to me, and I lifted, and we collected $6,000. I brought everybody a meal on the ship, 7 gangs. I brought them all a beer, everything in life I brought them.
All right, let's go to work.
This is an 8-inch spike. This is pure steel. It's alloy metal. I bent this last year with my teeth. Very few men, maybe the mighty Adam and Travis bend this. This is pure steel. It's a 1/4 of an inch and 8 inches long. It took me exactly half a minute to bend it.
After doing that, you still have your teeth.
Yeah, he still does. God bless him.
Now tell me a little bit about Jack Dempsey. You used to be your masseur for him, right?
Jack Dempsey was a man of his own caliber. I trained with him in the 20s. I sparred out a couple of times with him. But I used to massage him down. And I talked to Tex Richards in those days, but I didn't care for him because he was a, you know,
He was a con artist.
con artist, you know, all that stuff. And I think he did Dempsey out of a lot of money, to my estimation. But Dempsey was a true man. He was a great champion. They didn't call him the Manasseh Mauler for nothing, because he had a right uppercut that only traveled 6 inches. And when he hit you with that, you were gone. Don't forget, Dempsey had a lot of misfortunes in his life. Married Estelle Taylor, and he went out to Hollywood to make movies, and that was his downfall. And in 1923 to 1926, he was inactive, and he never trained anymore. And then he had to fight Gene Tunney. And the first fight in Philadelphia in 1926 was a rainy night. My brother and I, my older brother and I were there. And to me, Dempsey didn't look like Jack Dempsey because he was slow. He couldn't bob and weave, his style of bob and weave. He never fought standing up. And I knew there was something wrong. Even my brother says it. It's Joe, he says, there's something wrong with Dempsey. He's not throwing the punches. And Tunney outclassed him. Andy, that's Jack Dempsey in 1915 in Coney Island. That is not Hackenschmidt. That's Stanzo Zabisco, the heavyweight wrestling champ of the world that came from Poland. He went on the waterfront as a security guard, and we used to talk together down Pier 3, Pier 2, Red Hook. He says, you know, I am the greatest wrestler in the world. So I used to say, you're not the greatest wrestler in the world. He said, I know a man who beat you twice. George Carl Hackenschmidt has been defeated once in his whole lifetime by Frank Gotch because Hackenschmidt had a bad toe. They wrestled 2.5 hours in Chicago in 1909. And furthermore, Frank Gotch was a dirty wrestler because he put oil on his body and Hackenschmidt couldn't grab him. And that's a true statement, which is no lie. I met Hackenschmidt years ago when he was in his 80s. That man picked me up in one hand by the seat of my buttocks and pressed me up. 150 pounds, he was in his 80s. He pressed me in military fashion. One arm like that.
Now, wrestling was real in those days, obviously, right?
That was real wrestling. Today I wouldn't pay a dime to see any of these exhibitionists. To my opinion, in boxing, which I know a lot about boxing, I was a cut man, a trainer. I trained a lot of great fighters. I would rate the greatest middleweight that ever lived was Harry Greb, who had 299 fights. He won 266 fights. Not only that, he beat light heavyweight champions. He beat heavyweight fighters. He knocked Bill Brennan out, which Jack Dempsey took 12 rounds to knock him out. Harry Greb weighed 152 pounds. Besides that, Harry Greb was blind for 6 years in one eye. The best fight I ever saw was Harry Greb with Mickey Walker in the Garden. 15 rounds of slugfest. Then Mickey says, all right, you beat me, Harry, but I'll take you outside, he says, and we'll fight again. And Harry Greb went to work on him, and he beat the hell out of Mickey Walker, the toy bulldog from Rumson, New Jersey. Any more you want to know?
What year was that?
1923.
Just testing you, okay.
This was taken in midwinter, 1949. I was 44 years of age. And I was still in shape, and I was still doing my lifts yet. And I still do lifts up to today, but due to certain things, I cannot do them no more. It's got a lot to do with my eyes. Right now, I'm standing here by this hand truck, and I got the urge to bend this bar over, but I don't feel like bending because I don't want to put a strain on my eyesight. As I ready to bend it apart.
We need that, Joe. He's having flashbacks from when he used to work on the
I'm stretching the bars right out. But that's it, I'm beginning to feel something. Feel it, Tony. The nerves of my fingers now ain't what they used to be. Sometimes I don't feel them, my thumbs especially. Feel all these pains in my upper thumbs, and one of the bones in my left hand is popping out now. You feel the pains in here. I don't bend them the way I used to bend them. I lost 2 brothers a few years ago. And one of my dearest friends, still today, we've been together since 1935, was Vic Boff, the president of Old Time Strongman at the Downtown Athletic Club. And Vic and I, we call each other every other week. We keep in touch. And we've been friends ever since 1935. He was a strong man himself in his days. Sometimes I go to a gym and I see these kids and I look at them. And they come up with their bulging arms, bulging chests. I said, what could you lift? Oh, I could lift this. Yeah, let's try it. I can't lift it. Sometimes I walk over and at my age, I say, I do the lift yet, and I pick it up. No matter what it is, 150 pounds, I pick it up with one finger and I just toss it. They look at me, hey, there's a trick of all these things you do. Yeah, well, I says, accept that. I says, if you want to challenge me in a finger wrestling, I says, I'll beat you any day in the week. And I had many challenges in my days with strongmen. They outweighed me by 200-300 pounds, and I still beat them. I helped Leone's with the mozzarella. I'd load the curds on the van. Sometimes there's maybe 400 pieces. In a half hour, I'd load the van up. Maybe it's 10,000 pounds. As I load it in a half an hour because I have a way of my system, a way of working.
Now, how often you do that? Every day?
I do it every morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at 5, I go to bed at 9 o'clock at night. My motto in life is keep healthy, mind your own business, don't mix in politicians, because I never care for any politicians on this earth. And I believe in my own religion. Pray to God every day and night that I live in a few more days. I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. I don't drink any kind of alcohol. I live on my own diet. I eat once a day. That's enough for me.
When is that, in the morning?
No, right now.
Joe Rollino was a legend in Brooklyn. He was a dock worker, a boxer, and a Coney Island carnival strongman. He died yesterday at age 104. NPR's Robert Smith has his story.
This was a man over 100 years old, still bending quarters with his teeth. But it was as a Coney Island attraction that he became famous. Rollino was hit and killed by a minivan early yesterday morning while he was on his daily walk. And while Rollino's name may not have made any official record books, mostly what's left from the carnival era is stories, like the one about the 104-year-old strongman who could still bend a quarter with his teeth.